let's talk about your accommodation.
Okay.
Do you live in a house or an apartment?
Okay, these days I live in a 2-bedroom apartment with my girlfriend.
Okay.
Actually I prefer to live in a house, but it is much more convenient to live in an apartment in the city. So.
And what do you like the most about your apartment?
Actually, well, I'm lucky enough to live in an apartment near a lake. So I think, you know, sitting on the couch in the lounge room, I can have a nice view of the lake. So yeah, I think that is what I like best about my apartment. In fact, that is the main reason I moved into this apartment, because of the view.
Let's talk about photos. Do you like to take photos?
Yeah, I love photography actually. I'm really into taking photos of like landscapes and also a little bit of street photography.
Okay. Do you prefer to take photos yourself or have other people take your photos?
Yeah, I'm not really interested in being in photos. I much prefer, you know, to be behind the camera and take the photos.
I'm going to give you a topic and I want you to talk about that topic for 1 to 2 minutes. Before you talk, you have 1 minute to prepare. You can write out 3 keywords to help you think about what you are going to say. Okay. Here's a piece of paper. Here's your pencil for note taking. And here's the topic. I want you to describe a time when someone visited your home. Okay, you have 60 seconds to think about this topic.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to describe a time when someone came to visit me at my home, and that was about 6 months ago when my younger brother came to Vietnam. He came for a short holiday with some of his friends, and so he spent a few days in Hanoi, and during that time we spent a little bit of time together, and you know, I was able to show him you know, where I lived and you know, the neighborhood. And you know, he got to get a sense of what it was like to live in Vietnam during that time. And you know, we also, I showed him around the city a little bit and took him to a few of the more popular tourist attractions. And but you know, mainly we just spent a lot of time, you know, sharing some meals together and sitting in a few different cafes that I like to visit around the city. You know, drinking coffee and you know, just having a chat and catching up on each other's lives, really. But yeah, we took a few short walks around the lake, and you know, I think he really enjoyed spending time here. And you know, we don't really get to see each other very often these days because he lives in Australia and I live in Vietnam. So I think we really both valued that short time that we got to spend together. So,
okay. So you have been talking about a time when your brothers visited your home. I just want to ask you a few more questions about that topic.
Sure.
Do young people like to visit their friends nowadays?
Yeah, I guess young people like to visit their friends. You know, I think young people usually like to socialize a lot, so I guess they try to visit their friends as much as possible. But you know, I'm not that young these days, so I'm not really familiar with what young people like or dislike.
Okay. And what do people in your country usually do when hanging out together?
Well, I guess that depends on a few things, like their age or maybe their gender. But you know, I think older people probably, when they're hanging out together, they you know, sit and drink a coffee or tea and just have a chat about things like their family or, you know, other interests, you know, the news or something like that. Whereas younger people, you know, they live a more active lifestyle. So, you know, when they're hanging out, they're probably doing things like, you know, playing sport or playing games or, you know, going shopping or going to the cinema, things like that.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. That is the end of the speaking test.